the cry in the dust. The sky was dark with smoke. Ash fell like snow. The air smelled of fire and fear. Buildings were broken. Trees were gone. The ground was cracked and hot. Somewhere in the middle of this destruction, a small alien boy cried. He had silver blue skin, thin arms, and big glowing eyes. His clothes were torn. Dirt covered his face. He was no older than 7. His name was Leo. "Please, someone help her," he shouted, running through the broken road. But no one stopped. Humans walked past him. Soldiers in dark armor. Drones flew in the sky, scanning for enemies. Some looked at the boy but turned away. Others didn't even notice him. Leo dropped to his knees beside a woman lying on the ground. It was his mother. Her skin was pale and cold, her chest rose and fell slowly. Blood spilled from a wound on her side. She had no strength to speak. "Don't leave me," he whispered, his voice shaking. "Mama, please stay." His small hands touched her face. She didn't move. "Please," he screamed again. "Help her." No answer came. Just the sound of fire crackling, metal creaking, and far-off explosions. Then, footsteps, slow and heavy. A human soldier stopped a few feet away. He was tall, with a rough face and a tired look in his eyes. He wore a brown jacket with a red cross on the sleeve. A medic. His name was Jackson. He looked at the boy, then at the woman. "You shouldn't be here," Jackson said. His voice was firm but not angry. "She's dying," Leo said. "You're a healer. You can help." Jackson stepped closer. He looked around. No one was watching. The other soldiers had moved ahead. The area was marked as cleared. No enemies left, alive, but here they were. A child and his mother, aliens, the same kind his side had been fighting for years. "I can't," he said. "It's against the rules, helping the enemy. It's not allowed." Leo stood up. His hands were shaking, but his eyes were strong. "My mother is not the enemy, she's a farmer. We never hurt anyone." Jackson looked at the woman again. Her face was peaceful, even in pain. Her breathing was weak, but she was still alive. He sighed. He remembered something, a memory. His own daughter, lying in a hospital bed years ago, dying. No one came to help her. No one cared. He looked at Leo. The boy reminded him of her. Jackson made a decision. "Okay," he said softly. "I'll help." He knelt down beside the mother and opened his medkit. His hands moved quickly, wrapping, stitching, injecting. The tools beeped quietly. Jackson worked fast. He had done this 100 times before, but this time felt different. "What's her name?" he asked. "Rhea," Leo said. Jackson nodded. "She's strong. She's still breathing. That's a good sign." Rhea opened her eyes for a second. Her lips moved. She looked at Leo, then at Jackson. Her mouth tried to form words, but nothing came out. Leo held her hand tightly. "Will she live?" he asked. Jackson didn't answer right away. He didn't want to lie. "I don't know, but I'll do everything I can." Suddenly, a loud sound echoed through the air. A drone passed overhead. Jackson quickly pulled a broken metal plate over them, hiding them from view. "We can't stay here," he said. "They'll scan this area again." "Where can we go?" Leo asked. Jackson looked around. In the distance, he saw the entrance to an old underground tunnel. It used to be a subway before the war. Now it was just a hole in the ground. "But it might be safe. We carry her," he said. "Together." Leo nodded. Jackson lifted Rhea gently, holding her close. She was light. Too light. She had lost so much blood. They ran toward the tunnel, keeping low, avoiding the light. The world around them burned and fell, but inside the tunnel it was quiet. Dark. Safe. For now. Inside, Jackson laid her down on a piece of broken floor. He checked her pulse. Still weak, still alive. Leo sat beside her. He didn't cry now. He just watched her breathe. Jackson sat on the other side, breathing hard. "You're lucky I heard you." Leo looked at him. "No. You're the only one who listened." A silence filled the tunnel. Not empty, but heavy. Full of things not said. Outside, the war raged on. But in that tunnel, in the dust and darkness, something rare had happened. A human had stopped, and he had listened, against the orders. The tunnel was cold and silent. Dust floated in the air. Cracks in the ceiling let in soft beams of light. In that still place, 3 lives rested in danger. Jackson sat with his back against a wall, watching Rhea, the alien mother, breathe. Each breath was shallow. Her skin had gone pale blue. Her body shook sometimes. The blood flow had stopped, but she was weak. Too weak. Leo never left her side. The small alien boy held her hand tightly, whispering soft words in a language Jackson didn't understand. It was gentle, sad, ancient. Jackson checked his radio. Static. Good. That meant the signal didn't reach down here. No one knew where he was. Not yet. He thought about the orders. No contact with alien civilians. Report all survivors. Trust no one. But now he had disobeyed all of it. He had helped the enemy, carried her, treated her, hid her. Why? He didn't fully know. Maybe it was the boy's eyes, or maybe he was tired of war, tired of being told what to feel, who to hate. Rhea moved a little, her lips parted. Jackson leaned in. Don't let them take him, she whispered. I won't, Jackson said. She faded again into sleep. Leo looked up, scared. Is she dying? Jackson didn't answer. Not yet. He stood and walked deeper into the tunnel. Just ahead, he found an old storage area. Metal boxes, rusted rails, half-buried lights, a place to rest. But not for long. Drones would be back soon. Patrols, too. He looked back toward the boy and his mother. What now? Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed from the tunnel's entrance. Boots, human boots. Jackson rushed back to Leo and whispered, Hide, now. Leo pulled his mother behind a fallen pipe. Jackson threw a tarp over them, then stood up straight, pretending to check his scanner. 3 soldiers entered the tunnel, flashlights on. They were from Jackson's unit. Jackson? The lead one called. What are you doing down here? Jackson stayed calm. Chasing a heat signature, probably nothing. Checking the area. We thought you went missing. I'm fine. Just got cut off by smoke. The second soldier looked around. His light swept across the tunnel. It stopped on the tarp, but only for a second. Anything under that? Just trash. Old gear, Jackson said. The man nodded, uninterested. Let's go then, the leader said. Command wants us back. Evac in 10. They turned and left. Jackson waited until their footsteps faded. Then he rushed back to the tarp and pulled it off. Leo coughed quietly. Rhea was breathing harder now. We need to move, Jackson said. They'll be back, maybe with a drone. He searched the storage room and found an old cart on wheels. Broken, but it would work. He placed Rhea gently on it and covered her with cloth. Leo walked beside them, silent. Is it always like this? Jackson asked him. Running? Hiding? Since the war started, yes, Leo said softly. They call us beasts. But we never wanted this. Then who did? Leo looked up. His glowing eyes seemed older than his years. Some humans, some of ours. Both sides wanted power. But we, my mother and me, we just wanted peace. They moved deeper into the tunnels. Each step was slower. Rhea was fading. The air grew colder. The silence was louder. Then, a low hum. From behind, a drone. Jackson grabbed Leo and pulled him into a side tunnel. The cart wouldn't fit. The drone passed above them, its red light scanning. For one moment it stopped. Right above Rhea's body. No, Jackson whispered. Then Rhea did something no one expected. She moved. She opened her eyes and saw the red light. She smiled, and she whispered one word. Run. A bright flash The drone fired, but not at her. She had raised a hand, releasing a burst of blue energy. The drone exploded. Jackson and Leo jumped back. Fire and metal filled the air. When they ran to her, Rhea was on the ground, shaking, bleeding again. "Why did you do that?" Jackson shouted. "To give you time," she said. "To save him." Leo dropped to his knees. "No, Mama." Jackson picked him up, holding him tightly. "We can't stay. Not anymore." They ran. They ran deeper into the dark, carrying the memory of the blast, the smell of burnt metal, and the sound of Rhea's final gift. The tunnels went on. Endless. Unknown. But Jackson had made his choice. Would protect this boy, even if it meant turning against everything he knew, even if it meant war with his own side, because something had changed in him, and there was no turning back. Enemies or family? The tunnels stretched like the veins of a dead world, twisting, cracked, forgotten. Jackson led the way with a broken flashlight, its beam flickering as if unsure of its own survival. Leo followed closely, his small hand gripping the soldier's sleeve. Behind them, nothing but silence and the fading echo of Rhea's sacrifice. Jackson didn't speak. Not yet. He didn't trust his voice. The guilt hung heavy in the air. He had failed to save her. He had promised. But promises meant nothing in war. Only choices mattered. And now, he had made the biggest one of his life. He had chosen to protect an alien child, knowing full well what that meant. He was now a traitor. Leo hadn't cried. Not since the moment his mother died. He just walked with empty eyes. A child carrying the weight of two worlds. They reached a chamber, a hollow space, where ancient pipes crossed like bones in the earth. Jackson checked the area, then motioned for Leo to sit. "Rest here," he said. Leo sat, his back against a wall, hands clasped together. "Will they come for us?" Jackson nodded. "Yes, eventually, if they find out." "Will they kill you, too?" Jackson hesitated, then, "Maybe." Silence again. Then Jackson broke it. "Your mother. She knew about that drone. She saved us." "She was always like that," Leo whispered. "She saved others during the early days of the war, even humans." Jackson turned toward him. "She saved humans?" Leo nodded. "Yes, in our village, long ago. Some soldiers crashed near our fields. Everyone else wanted to hide or run. She went out and helped them. She treated their wounds with herbs, fed them. One of them gave me a red ribbon. I still have it." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a faded, dirty ribbon. Jackson stared at it. "I've seen that before," he said. "That was the mark for protected by locals. Your mother, she was one of the first who tried to stop the war." Leo looked down. But no one listened. They only saw monsters. They only saw enemies. Jackson sat beside him. "You're not a monster, Leo. Then why did they let her die?" Jackson had no answer. He looked at the child. Really looked this time. Not just at the alien features, not just at the glowing eyes or the unusual skin, but at the pain, the hope, the strength. This boy was just a child like any other, but something about him was different. "Your blood," Jackson said. "When I treated your mother, I saw something strange. A glow, almost like energy." Leo went quiet. "Tell me the truth, Leo. What are you?" Leo hesitated. Then, in a voice that shook, he answered. "My mother wasn't like the others. She came from the sky, from one of the older colonies. She had gifts. She could heal without tools. She could sense danger. She said, I carry those gifts too." "You're not just any alien," Jackson said. "You're something more. She said I was born to change things, to stop the war. But now she's gone. So I don't know what that means anymore." Jackson placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "It means she believed in you. And so, do I suddenly, a sound, not boots this time, Whispers, voices, close. Jackson pulled Leo behind a wall. Lights danced across the far side of the chamber. 2 human soldiers entered the space, scanning with drones. Jackson reached for his pistol. Leo grabbed his arm. No. If you shoot, others will come, more. Then what do we do? Leo closed his eyes. He whispered something. Soft. Strange. The air around them grew cooler. The shadows seemed to move, covering them. The soldiers walked right past them and didn't see. Jackson's breath caught in his throat. How did you do that? I don't know, Leo whispered. It just happened. The soldiers left. The shadows faded. Jackson stared at him. That wasn't just luck. Leo looked afraid of himself now. It's growing. Every time I'm scared, it changes me. Jackson now understood why the military would want him. Not to protect him, but to control him. Use him. Break him. He wouldn't let that happen. We need to get to the old outpost, Jackson said. There's a resistance group there. Humans and aliens. They believe in peace. They'll protect you. Leo looked at him. Why are you helping me? Jackson thought of his daughter, of how no one had helped her, of how he'd watched her fade away in a hospital bed while the war swallowed the world. Because someone should have helped her, he said, and I didn't. But I can help you. They packed what little gear they had and moved deeper into the tunnel system, toward the old train lines that led out of the war zone. They were not just running anymore. They were heading toward something. Choice, a future, and behind them the past burned, like Rhea's final breath. Like every rule Jackson had just broken. Because sometimes family isn't blood. Sometimes family is the person who stays, even when the whole world tells them to walk away. The chase begins. The silence didn't last. Not in war. Not when you're marked as a traitor. Jackson and Leo had only made it halfway through the old tunnels when they heard the sound, a high-pitched whine, then the heavy thud of boots. Jackson knew that sound. Pursuit units, not just soldiers. Hunters, trained to find people like him, people who broke orders. They were close. Jackson grabbed Leo's hand and pulled him into a side shaft. Cold air rushed past them. Water dripped from broken pipes. Dust filled their lungs. Leo's legs were tired, his steps weaker. We can't stop now, Jackson said. They're after us. How many? Leo asked. Too many. They moved, fast. Past rusted doors, past signs half covered in ash. Every breath felt heavier, every heartbeat louder. Then the tunnel opened into a large underground rail hub. Old tracks, collapsed trains, vines creeping through stone cracks. Jackson paused. He used to know this place. Years ago, before the war reached this deep. He and his team had cleared it during one of the first offensives, but now it was quiet. Too quiet. He scanned the area. That's when he saw them. Laser tripwires, hidden beneath the dirt fresh. They already set traps, he whispered. They knew we'd come this way, Leo said, his voice shaking. Jackson turned. Then this was never a chase. It was a trap. A voice echoed from above. You've gone too far, Captain, said a deep voice. Hand over the alien. You might still survive. Jackson looked up. A familiar face stared down from a metal walkway. Commander Riker, his old friend, his teacher, the man who taught him everything. Now, he led the kill squad. You don't understand what you're doing, Riker, Jackson shouted. He's just a kid. He's a threat, Riker replied coldly. You've seen what they can become. He's not like that. He's different. Riker lifted a hand. The lasers turned red. Jackson turned to Leo. When I give the signal, run. Go through the service duct on the right. Don't stop, don't look back, but just go. Jackson stepped forward, raising his hands. I surrender, he said. Riker nodded. Smart move. Soldiers moved in, but Jackson was ready. Flash grenade, hidden in his glove. He threw it. Boom. Blinding light. Screams. Smoke. Run, Leo. The boy dashed into the side duct. Jackson fired at the lasers breaking the tripwires. He dodged incoming shots, slid under a fallen beam and followed Leo. Bullets sparked behind them. Voices shouted orders. The chase was real now. They ran for miles, it seemed, down flooded stairs, through crumbled halls, until finally they found a gate, old, locked. Jackson fired 3 rounds into the hinges, kicked it open. On the other side, daylight ruined buildings. The surface. They were out. But the danger wasn't over. A hunter drone rose over the rooftops. Sleek. Fast. It scanned. The area. Hide, Jackson yelled, pulling Leo behind a burned-out truck. The drone paused as if sniffing the air. Then it flew off. Too easy. Too fast. Jackson felt it in his bones. Something worse was coming, and he was right. That night they camped inside a collapsed home. No roof, just broken walls. Leo sat with knees pulled to his chest. Jackson handed him a food pack. "I'm sorry you had to see that," he said. "I knew this would happen," Leo whispered. "My mother told me. If I lived, I'd be hunted." "Why? Because of your powers?" Leo looked at the stars through a crack in the ceiling. "She said I was born in a place where time doesn't move the same, where thoughts can shape matter. She said I was a link. A link to what? To something older, something that was here before humans, before us." Jackson froze. He had heard stories, old warnings, about Project Helix, a secret mission that tried to tap into alien DNA, to create a hybrid, a weapon. "Your mother," Jackson said slowly. "Was she part of that project?" Leo nodded. "She escaped. Took me with her. Hid me. Because I'm not just alien, I'm half human." The truth hit Jackson like a punch to the chest. Leo wasn't just a child. He was the reason the war never ended. He was what both sides feared and wanted. "They'll never stop coming for you," Jackson said. "Then we can't stop running," Leo answered. Outside, a red light blinked on in the sky. The drone had found them. The chase wasn't over. It had only just begun. The hybrid truth. The sky burned red. Not from the sun, but from the eyes of the hunter drone above. Jackson grabbed Leo and pulled him down into the wreckage. The broken house shook as the drone's scanner swept the area. A high-pitched whine filled the air. Then silence. "It's circling back," Jackson whispered. "We have seconds." Leo closed his eyes. "I can stop it." "No," Jackson said quickly. "Not yet. They want you to use your powers. They're watching, waiting. But if we don't do something, we run. One more time." They jumped through a broken basement window. Jackson had memorized the layout of this district years ago during recon. Now those old maps were saving their lives. Under the ruins was a forgotten sewer line, dark, narrow, but hidden. They climbed down, and they ran again. Leo's breath was uneven. His eyes glowed faintly, even in the dark. He was changing. Something inside him was waking up. 12 hours later, they reached an old outpost, buried beneath a mountain of stone. The entrance was sealed with vines and ash. Jackson cleared it away and entered a long-dead control bunker. Broken lights flickered overhead. Screens blinked to life for the first time in years. And then, a voice crackled through an old speaker. "You shouldn't have come here, Jackson," he froze. "Who is this?" The door opened. A figure stepped out of the shadows. Lieutenant Mara Quinn. She was tall, scarred, and wore the tattered uniform of a long-disbanded recon unit. Her right arm was metal. Her left eye glowed green. She had once been Jackson's partner. "You're supposed to be dead," Jackson said. "So are you," Mara replied. "But here we are." Her eyes fell on Leo. "He's the one," Jackson nodded. "He's half human, half them. His mother saved me." "His mother," Mara said. "Rhea, I knew her, we all did. She was part of Project Helix." Jackson's heart dropped. "Then it's true." Mara walked to a dusty console. She typed in a code. A screen lit up. A video played. A lab, glowing tanks, scientists in masks, a woman strapped to a table. Rhea. She was screaming. Please, not my son. Another voice, cold, emotionless. He carries the helix seed. He is the next step. The screen went black. Jackson clenched his fists. What did they do to her? They tried to control her, but she escaped, took her son. We thought they both died when the lab was bombed. Guess we were wrong. Leo stood silently. They wanted to turn me into a weapon. Yes, Mara said, but your mother believed you could be more. She believed you could stop the war. Leo looked at Jackson. But how? Mara answered. You carry both codes, human and alien. That makes you something new, something that could rewrite the entire genetic war. Jackson leaned forward. Rewrite? Yes, Mara said. There's a virus hidden in the atmosphere. Both sides released it early in the war. It stops our species from mixing. But Leo, he's immune. He's the cure, Jackson whispered. Suddenly, explosions. The mountain shook. Dust rained. From the ceiling, Mara pulled up a feed. Drones, tanks, troops. Riker had found them. They're breaching the outer wall. Mara shouted. We have 10 minutes. Jackson turned to Leo. We have to get you to safety. No, Leo said. I need to stop them. He stepped toward the console. His hands glowed faintly. Leo, what are you doing? Mara asked. I feel it. I can connect to the machines, to the code. His eyes turned bright white. The bunker's lights flickered. Outside, drones froze mid-air. Tanks stalled. Soldiers shouted in confusion. Leo collapsed. Jackson caught him. He's burning up, Mara said. His powers are growing too fast. Jackson replied. We need to get him to the Outlands, the old research station. That's where it started. Maybe they left something behind. If we leave now, Mara said, we might make it before Riker cuts us off. Jackson lifted Leo in his arms. Then we run. Again. Ashes of peace. The transport rattled through the ruins of what once was a beautiful world. Jackson kept one hand on the wheel, eyes scanning the broken roads. Mara sat behind him, her mechanical arm gripping a pulse rifle. And Leo, he lay in the back, wrapped in a heat blanket, his breathing shallow. He's burning up, Mara said. His system is trying to rewrite itself. Can he survive it? Jackson asked. I don't know. He's not just a hybrid anymore. He's changing into something else. They were heading for the Outlands, a long-abandoned research facility built before the war. It sat in the middle of the desert, where the sky never fully cleared and the ground still glowed faintly at night. It was once called Site Zero. Now, it was their last hope. 2 days later, the transport rolled to a stop at the edge of the wastelands. Twisted, towers reached toward the sky. Craters still smoked. And in the distance, half buried beneath the sand, stood Site Zero. It looked dead. But something inside was alive. Leo opened his eyes. We're here, he whispered. Jackson helped him up. You sure you can walk? Leo nodded. I have to. This place and what's calling me. As they stepped into the ruins, the wind screamed through the broken steel. Dust swirled around their feet. And under the silence there was a hum. Low. Ancient. The door opened by itself. Inside, the lights flickered on. Someone activated. The core, Mara said. This place was supposed to be offline. Then we're not alone, Jackson said. They moved deeper into the base. Leo stopped in front of a glowing chamber. This was my mother's room, he whispered. Inside, he found her journal. A small metal cube. He touched it. It lit up. A projection filled the air. Rhea, Leo's mother, stood tall and proud. If you are hearing this, then my son has survived, and so has the truth. She spoke of the helix seed, a genetic code older than time, a gift from a forgotten alien race that once lived on Earth long before humans. We called them the ancients. Their blood is still in our soil, in our water, in us. Leo, You are their echo. You can unlock what they left behind. The recording ended. Jackson stepped back. So he's not just a hybrid, he's a key. Suddenly, alarms. Mara looked at her scanner. We have a breach. The walls shook. Lights went red. Outside, Riker's troops had arrived, too fast, too prepared. They followed us, Jackson said. No, Mara replied. They were already here. She turned and aimed her weapon at them. What are you doing? Jackson shouted. I'm sorry, she said. I made a deal. I thought I could protect him. But Riker, he promised peace, a real one, with control. You betrayed us. I didn't want to, but we can't win this war, Jackson, not without order. You don't bring peace with chains, Jackson growled. A blast shook the hallway. Smoke poured in. Riker entered. He wore full armor now, black, cold, humming with strange power. Hello, Leo, he said, stepping over rubble. You've grown. Leo stood, weak but defiant. You want to use me? No, Riker said. I want to understand you. To control you, yes. But also to protect what's left of this world. By killing what's different, Jackson shouted. Riker didn't answer. He raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the ground split open. Leo's body lit up. A burst of energy knocked everyone back, and from beneath the base, something rose. A structure, glowing with symbols older than Earth. The Ancient's core. Leo stepped forward. His eyes white, his voice not entirely his own. This war ends now, Jackson shouted. Leo, don't... But it was too late. Leo touched the core, and in that moment, the base vanished in a flash of white light. Seconds or years later, Jackson woke up in a field. Green. Alive. The sky was clear. The world looked reborn. He sat up. Mara was beside him. Unconscious. Leo stood in the distance. He turned slowly. I saw them, he said. The Ancients. They showed me what Earth could be. What we were meant to become. What did you do, Leo? I changed the code. The virus is gone. They can't stop peace now. Jackson looked around. No soldiers. No guns. Just silence. But in that silence, something else was coming. Leo turned to Jackson. But peace has a cost. What cost? Before Leo could answer, the sky cracked open, and something came through, not human, not alien. Something else. The Ancients were not all gone. The last decision, the sky had broken. A rift hung above the earth, wide and glowing like a wound in space. Out of it came shapes, massive, ancient, and silent. They weren't ships. They were alive. Leo stood alone on the green field, staring at the beings who had called themselves the Ancients. Tall, glowing, made of light and bone, they hovered above the ruined world like forgotten gods. Jackson stood behind him, his hand on a rifle he hoped he wouldn't need to use. Leo, he said. What are they? Leo didn't look away. They're the ones who left the code behind. The ones who made me... And this choice. Jackson stepped closer. What choice? Leo turned slowly, and his voice trembled. They want to fix the world, but their way means wiping it clean. Mara, still injured from the blast at Site Zero, forced herself to stand. You mean they'll destroy everything? Leo nodded. Not destroy. Rewrite. They believe humanity is too broken to be saved. But they think I'm proof a better version can exist. A better version? Jackson asked. Leo raised his hand. A tree nearby bloomed instantly. The ground healed beneath their feet. I can fix the planet, heal the oceans, stop war, but only if they remove free will. Jackson's stomach turned. So they want peace by controlling us? No more violence, no more hunger, no more lies, Leo whispered, but also no more choice. There was silence. Then Riker's voice echoed from the hill behind them. Then let them do it. He was wounded, barely able to stand. But he had followed the light, refusing to give up. His face was bloodied, but his eyes burned with purpose. "This world doesn't deserve another chance," he said. "We've ruined it again and again. Let the ancients fix what we couldn't." Jackson stepped in front of Leo. "No, we fight for our own future, not one forced on us." Riker raised a weapon. "Then you're still part of the problem." He fired. Time seemed to slow. Leo stepped forward, raising his hand, and the bullet froze in midair. Leo turned to Riker. "No more killing." He closed his hand, and the weapon turned to dust. Jackson watched, heart racing. "Leo, what are you going to do?" Leo looked at the sky, at the ancients, then down at his hands. He could feel everything, every heartbeat on Earth, every wound, every lie. He saw all of it. And then, his mother's voice echoed in his mind. "We are not meant to be perfect. We are meant to try. That's what makes us human." He looked at Jackson. "I know what I have to do." The ancients hovered lower. Leo spoke to them, his voice calm, but strong. "I choose free will." The beings pulsed with light, confused. One of them responded in a voice that echoed in their minds. "Then your world will fall again. You will suffer." Leo nodded. "Maybe, but that suffering, it's part of who we are." Jackson stepped beside him. "We fix things. Not because we're perfect, but because we care." The ancients hovered in silence. Then, slowly, they began to rise. The rift closed behind them, and they were gone. Weeks later, the sky was blue again. The rivers flowed clean, not because of magic or code, but because people chose to rebuild. Jackson sat outside a small house on the edge of the green fields. Leo sat beside him, quiet. "Do you think they'll come back?" Jackson asked. Leo shrugged. "Maybe, but next time we'll be ready." Jackson smiled. "You changed everything, you know." Leo didn't answer. He was staring at the horizon. "I hear them sometimes," he said. "Not the ancients, the people, every voice, every hope, every fear." Jackson looked at him. "That's a heavy burden." Leo nodded. "But it's mine to carry." Mara walked out from the house holding a data pad. "You should see this," she said. "Across the globe, enemies are talking, trading, building. It's slow, but people are trying." Jackson stood. "We've earned this second chance, and this time, we won't waste it." Leo smiled, and for the first time since he'd been born, the world around him felt like home.